Hello and welcome to Liberty and Gun Rights Podcast, Episode 20. Today is Saturday, January 27th, 2024. Today I'm going to talk to you about House Bill 3594, also known as the South Carolina Constitutional Carry Second Amendment Preservation Act of 2023. As most of you know, the House bill was passed last year, and the Senate is actually, all this last week, they've been debating it. And several people that I know have been watching the actual Senate hearing, listening to the goings on of the senators about this bill. The first thing I want to tell you is this is an action alert. If you're even slightly interested in constitutional carry being passed in South Carolina, there are 8 key senators that you need to contact as soon as possible. Starting Monday morning, if you haven't already done it. For those of you that have written emails and have left voicemails for these senators, thank you. Senator Penry Gustafson, Senator Shane Massey, Senator Luke Rankin, Senator Sean Bennett, Senator Sandy Senn, Senator Chip Campson, Senator Greg Hembry, Senator Michael Johnson. Now I'm going to show you on the South Carolina Carry public group that list of senators with their contact information as well. But your message can be as simple as this. As a fellow resident of South Carolina, I urge you to support HB 3594 Constitutional Carry. HB 3594 would strengthen your Second Amendment rights, but it would also give prosecutors, judges, and law enforcement some of the tools they need to keep the criminals off the street. Thank you. When you're leaving these messages, it's important to know that you should be nice, that you should be respectful. You can be passionate, and you can absolutely tell the senators your feelings about this bill and why it's important to you as a legal gun owner in South Carolina. So just please remember to be nice. Being nice will go a long way, I think. So anyway, over here on this screen, I believe that you can see this. Yes. So on this screen, I'm going to show you our South Carolina Carry Facebook page. We have 3.5 thousand members on this page. Like most Facebook groups, there's a small portion or percentage of people that are actually active, and then there's lots and lots of lurkers. Okay, so I posted this message, and this is an excellent group to come to be a member of, to get all the updates on HB 3594. So I'm going to try and find my message. Here it is, right here. See more. Action alert, House Bill 3594 Constitutional Carry. Call these 8 state senators and urge them to vote for House Bill 3594 with no anti-gun amendments and no compromises. Here's the list. I'm going to leave it up here for a few minutes. And the URL is facebook.com groups South Carolina Carry, common spelling, SOUTH Carolina Carry, all together, all one word. It's easy to get to. And I'm telling you this as a resource because South Carolina Carry is a nonprofit organization, 501c4, and we're a educational group, gun safety, and we are advocating for the Second Amendment and for the right of individuals in South Carolina to be able to own and carry firearms for self-defense. And so up here I'm going to put our South Carolina Carry website. I'm a member of South Carolina Carry. I'm on the board of directors. And here's the website. And you go to blog, and you will see updates by Shara Scott. She's a board on the board of directors. And here's my message that I posted as well, with the senators that you need to contact. And let's go back. Action alert. And here we go. Here's the message from Sheriff Scott. South Carolina constitutional carry to be debated in the Senate Wednesday, January the 24th. Basically says if you'd like to watch the process, the State House live streams chamber video, which you can watch, listen to on your phone or computer. You click on this link. The sessions begin at 1 p.m. What to expect? This is going to take time, and there will be multiple amendments to the bill submitted, debated, and voted on. Expect some senators to do a good deal of grandstanding and submitting frivolous amendments. And that's correct. So since 2015, I personally, and South Carolina Carry and Palmetto Gun Rights and several other gun rights organizations in South Carolina have been actively working on and supporting the idea of constitutional carry. Typically what happens is Second Amendment, pro-Second Amendment bills pass the House without any problems. And then it gets sent to the Senate. And it goes to the Senate Judiciary Committee, and the Senate Judiciary Committee leader has the right or privilege of sending the bill to a committee to be investigated, researched, looked at. I don't know. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a constitutional attorney. I don't know all of the inner workings of the Senate, but there are people around that are smarter than I am with regards to the inner workings of the House of Representatives and the Senate, and you can certainly find those people in our group. But basically, typically what has happened since 2015 is the Senate Judiciary Committee has figured out many ways to kill the bill. A lot of times they just don't let it get any traction at all. It sits on the desk, and then all of a sudden they go, "Oopsie, we just ran out of time. Our session in South Carolina is over, and we'll reconvene next year." That crap happens all the time, more times than I care to admit, and it's maddening when it does happen. So the bills get passed back and forth between the Senate and the House, and like a ping pong ball, and then all of a sudden everybody runs out of time, and they're like, "Well, we're sorry, we were mildly interested in it," and or there'll be a bunch of stupid amendments get added to it, and that's why it has to go back to the House and get read and approved and amended or ratified or whatever, right? So it says here, if any of the amendments are voted to be added to this bill and the bill with amendments passes the Senate, the bill will be then have to go back to the House where it's already passed for a vote to concur or not concur with the amendments. If the House votes to concur, the bill gets ratified and goes to the governor for signature. If the House votes not to concur, then a message is sent to the Senate, and they vote to either go forward without amendments, or they insist that the bill go into conference, which is basically like arbitration. In simple terms, selected persons from the House and Senate hammer out a compromise on how the bill should read. It then either dies in conference committee, or the committee comes up with a compromise, and they send recommendations back to the House and Senate to then be voted on for ratification again. Sheriff says, "I fully expect amendments to be adopted and for the bill to end back up in the House for a vote to concur." So, Sheriff Scott is a co-owner of Sandhill Shooting Sports in Elgin, and she is on the board of directors for South Carolina Carry, and she is very in tune with all of the goings on of the bills and the activities that are going on in our Senate and the shenanigans that our senators, our illustrious senators, the games that they play, and the time that they waste, and the gerrymandering, and the bickering, and the grandstanding, and everything that's designed to just waste time and watch the sand in the hourglass expire, and then they have to come back the following day, or the following week, or the following month, or however that works out. So anyway, SouthCarolinaCarry.org is a source of information for what's going on in Columbia, South Carolina with regards to Second Amendment bills. And as you'll see, this is the actual bill. scstatehouse.gov. You can just Google it, HB space 3594, and it'll give you this page, and you can download the bill in Microsoft Word format, and you can change it from all capital letters like they have it written down here, which is almost impossible to read. You really have to focus pretty hard on reading this. At least my 62-year-old brain and eyes have to. I downloaded the Word document. You can actually click on this bill in Microsoft Word format, and you can actually change the formatting of the bill to where it's easier to read. And you can look right here. It was pre-filed on December 15th of 2022, this bill. Referred to Committee on Judiciary on the same day. And you can look this up for yourself, but there is countless times or countless entries to where different things happened. Sponsor Kilmartin, O'Neill, Murphy, Brewer, Robbins, Hager, several senators. There's like 8 lines of senators that were added as sponsors. You'll see all the way down here on 1/23/2024, Senate made adjourned debate. Then there was a roll call, 27 A's and 17 Nays. And then on 24 and 25, just this last week, Thursday and Friday, debate interrupted. No idea what that means, other than nothing was done. And here are the versions of the bills. If you're bored and you want to look at the different versions, that's there. Here's the wording of the bill. And I was going to try to create a summary of this bill. And after about 30 minutes of reading through all of this, and I honestly, I didn't see anything that even mentioned constitutional carry. They're basically taking the existing gun laws and they're section 162320, and they're rewording the existing verbiage of the gun laws that are in effect right now. Section 162320 of the South Carolina Code is amended to read, and you can sit here and ad nauseum. It's all this stuff has stricken out, and some words are left in, some are not. Blah blah blah. And I actually researched. I did some time Googling. What did we ever do without Google, right? So I did some research trying to find an intelligent a summary of this bill, if you will. Of course, I never found anything. What I did find was an article by Carolina News and Reporter by Raymond Escoto, March 24th, 2023. That was over a year ago. So I don't know how up to date this is, but I thought this was an excellent article. A recent concealed weapons training course at Champion Defense, a gun store in West Columbia. Let's see. What does it go on to say? South Carolinians are divided over a proposed gun bill in the state Senate. A controversial bill would allow gun owners to carry handguns openly or concealed without a permit. This would remove the mandatory training getting a permit requires. H3594 protects law-abiding gun owners. Representative Bobby Cox, Republican Greenville, said during the debate on the bill before the House approved it February 22nd. Cox is the bill's primary sponsor. The removal of mandatory training is a criticism of the bill. Telling someone they don't need a permit is like telling someone they don't need a driver's license to drive a car, said Jay Harris, CEO of Champion Defense, a West Columbia gun store and shooting range. Harris is a retired U.S. Army Ranger. His business offers certified firearm training courses such as the one now required for a concealed weapon permit. The lack of mandatory training is a huge safety concern, and the idea of people handling firearms with no training is a scary thought, he said. But not every trainer shares that concern. The lack of mandatory training does not concern me personally because I see the people that do want to get training are going to get training anyway, said Sheriff Scott, co-owner of Sandhill Shooting Sports, a shooting range in Lugoff. I said earlier it was in Elgin, but it's in Lugoff, in Kershaw County. Scott is also a board member of South Carolina Carry, a gun rights organization, and a National Rifle Association certified firearm training instructor. The bill is definitely a step in the right direction to restore Second Amendment rights for South Carolina, she said, agreeing that permits aren't needed. Sponsors of the bill said the same during the House debate. We encourage training at every opportunity, but training should not be a requirement to exercise one of your constitutional freedoms. Greenville's Cox said of the Second Amendment that prompts debate over how much individual gun ownership should be protected. One of the things I would add to that is the CWP concealed weapons permit training that you get. I think everybody will agree, anybody that has any experience with firearms will understand that that's not firearms training. That's just a introduction, and it basically tells the CWP instructor that you can actually hold a firearm, control it, and hit a man-sized target, woman-sized target, a profile at 50 feet or whatever the distance is, 25 feet, 50 feet. You get 50 shots. If you put enough of the shots in the center ring, if you score high enough during your qualification, then you get passed to move on. And they teach you in the CWP course, they teach you the South Carolina gun laws, and they tell you where it's legal to carry, where it's illegal to carry, not lawful to carry. Things that should be common sense, but apparently is not for some people. So, weapons training, firearms training, handgun training may start at your CWP certification or your class. When you pass the class and your application is sent to SLED, that's the beginning of your training. And so there are intermediate gun courses you can take. There's advanced gun courses that you can take. There's lots and lots of training available to anybody that is interested. And it's everything from beginners to advanced. And I'll go further and say that everybody can learn something. Nobody knows it all. And there are, the trainers that I know, the people that I know that do firearms training, they get training. They keep up on their skills, and they learn how to advance their training so that they can in turn around and teach it to us. Okay? So I would encourage you to get firearms training. There's nothing wrong with that at all. So we go on in this article. When law-abiding citizens are able to purchase firearms, they take it upon themselves to seek more training, even if they meet any government requirement. Representative Robert May III, Republican Lexington, said during the debate. This is about restoring constitutional rights for everyone, he said. It puts us in the right direction. Another criticism is the bill's potential effect on crime. I think it's important for people in general to realize that it's not law-abiding citizens that are causing issues, said Sandhill Shootings Scott. The bill sponsors said it will help South Carolinians defend themselves from danger. The bill will open up options to families to protect themselves without waiting for a permit. Cox said. Lexington's May also said studies have shown these kinds of bills have made crime rates decrease And that's correct. There are lots and lots of videos, YouTube videos, and articles out there from other states surrounding us, like Virginia, Georgia. There's I want to say there's 47 states all around South Carolina that have some form of permitless carry, constitutional carry, however you want to call it. Um, and there's a dramatic decrease in violent crime. Now, why is that? Why do you think there's a dramatic decrease of violent crime? Because an armed society is a polite society. And criminals understand and know that private citizens that are legal gun owners, they're arming themselves and they're getting training and they're protecting themselves and their loved ones. Criminals are looking for soft targets. They're not looking for armed civilians. They're looking for people that are sheep. They're looking for people that are walking around on the streets, looking at their iPads and their smartphones, reading newspapers, magazines, not paying attention to what's going on around them. They have no situational awareness, and they're just like little bleeding sheep walking around, and they're easy pickings for predators. And there are predators out there, and they are looking for those types of victims. Anyway, I digress. But permitless carry laws are newer, and any studies that have been done are inconsistent. Wendy, whatever her name is, professor and department chair of criminology and criminal justice at the University of South Carolina, said during an interview. What do you bet that she is not in support of constitutional carry? The conclusion I came to in looking at the research in that area is that the jury is still out on the impacts of permitless carrying on homicide or violent crime in general. But concealed carry laws, such as South Carolina's, have more research surrounding them. In states that were passing such carry concealed weapon permits, we're seeing increases in homicide rates, she said. A 2017 study on how easier access to firearms affects homicide rates from the American Journal of Public Health said the same. There is supportive evidence that shall issue concealed carry laws may increase total and firearm homicide, said a 2023 summary of research from the RAND Corporation. The RAND Corporation is a nonprofit research organization that specializes in helping political decision making. Well, there you go. Specializes in helping political decision making. The bill also would lower the minimum age of South Carolinians to carry concealed weapons. South Carolina allows 18-year-olds to purchase guns, but people must be at least 21 years old to obtain a concealed weapons permit. I'm pretty much disgusted, Patty Tuttle, leader of the Midlands chapter of Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America, said of the bill. Tuttle says it's a money issue and called out Cox for working for Sig Sauer Incorporated, a New Hampshire-based gun manufacturer, as Vice President of Government Affairs. These legislators are tied to their own beliefs, and they're pushing their own beliefs on everybody else, she said, of the bill's sponsors. The bill passed the House by a vote of 90 to 30 and sent it to the Senate. The Senate referred the bill to its Judiciary Committee, where it has stayed since February the 28th. No surprise there. So, here's something else I want to bring to your attention. And this is no surprise. Look at this article. Volunteers with Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America sit in on the February 14th House Judiciary Committee meeting for discussion of the permitless carry bill. Voted courtesy of Moms Demand Action. So when we click on it, look at all these red t-shirts. Now, there's a disparity in the number of people from the legal gun owner community versus Moms Demand Action and all of the different liberal, anti-Second Amendment organizations that are fighting tooth and nail to make sure that our Second Amendment rights are not protected, and they are not enforced, and they are not supported. I'm not using the right verbiage here, but you understand what I'm saying. At least I hope you do. So, sure, So here's one of the reasons why Moms Demand Action can show up in force at these Senate Judiciary Committee hearings, these public meetings. One reason is they don't work. They don't have jobs. And Soros and Bloomberg and all of these billionaires, these liberal billionaires that do not want the Second Amendment to be supported, they load these buses full of these volunteers and pay them to sit at these meetings. At least that's what I've heard. I don't know if they actually get paid or not, but the buses are not free, and the fuel that goes in those buses to cart these people around to these different meetings, it's not just South Carolina. It's everywhere. It's every state capital has pre-filed bills like red flag laws. They want the red flag laws to be passed. They want to be able to come take your weapons and your ammunition out of your home with no due process. Forget the Fourth Amendment. It doesn't count. All somebody has to do, if there's a red flag law in place, is go to the police and complain about, oh, I heard Jimmy talking about all of his guns and going to the gun range, and he is upset about this, that, or another, and I think he's a danger to himself, his family, and society. And so, as long as a judge signs off on it, the police can come to your house without a warrant, and they can take your weapons and your ammunition, and they confiscate it, and then you have to pay an attorney to go to court and prove that you're not a danger to yourself or society. You don't even have to have a criminal record. You don't even have to have any record of mental adjudication. So let that sink in. You have to spend your hard-earned money to prove it's backwards. What does the Fourth Amendment say? It says you have a right to representation. And you cannot be... Well, let's see what it says. Let's go look it up. I don't want to mangle it. I want to say the right thing. Amendments to the Constitution. Here we go. I love Google. What are the first 10 amendments? Alright, let's see. Amendment number 4 has search and arrest. Let's see, Bill of Rights later. Amendments. Let's go further. Let's see, does it come down here? Here we go. Amendment number 4, search and arrest. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause. Due process, remember? But upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. That means that the government can't come into your house and just search willy-nilly. They can't break down your door and just come in and go, we think that you might be a danger to yourself, your family, or your relatives, or the society, even though you've done nothing wrong, you haven't broken any crimes, but we're going to, if the red flag law gets passed in your jurisdiction, in your county or state, they're just going to throw this to the wind and come in and seize all your stuff. And then you have to go to court, as I've said before, with an attorney and prove that you're not a criminal. Prove that you're not a whack job. You're not a gun nut. You haven't broken any laws. You haven't been indicted on any felony gun charges, and you have not been prosecuted. So, that's how scary that is. It's real. Right? So anyway, Moms Demands Action. Wow. So I cannot tell you how important it is that you get involved. And I think I've said this before, but get involved and join the NRA. Join South Carolina Carry, Palmetto Gun Rights. there's a whole slew of gun rights organizations out there that are working overtime to protect your Second Amendment rights. And if you want to see constitutional carry, and I'm talking to South Carolina gun owners, if you're a legal gun owner and you want to see constitutional carry passed, you need to contact these 8 senators and let them know that you as a legal gun owner want to see constitutional carry passed. And where is that list? I had a list up here. Blog, action. Here we go. Here are these 8 senators. Penry Gustafson, Shane Massey, Luke Rankin, Sean Bennett, Sandy Senn. I'll guarantee you Sandy Senn, I've talked to her in person, she is very liberal and she is not supportive of the Second Amendment at all. Luke Rankin, he says that he's supportive of the Second Amendment. He says that he's a Republican, that he's a supporter. Some of these people are rhinos. And what is a rhino? A rhino is somebody that says, I support the Second Amendment, but. There's always a but trailing that. There are no buts. There are no ifs, ands, or buts. You're either a supporter of the Second Amendment or you are not. Chip Campson, Greg Hembry, and Michael Johnson. Here are the phone numbers. Now, let me show you something. If you go up here and let's say Senator Shane Massey, I'm going to show you a trick. Go to Google. Senator, here's Michael Johnson. We'll use him. So this is what I did. So go to Senator Michael Johnson. And you click on, here he is right here. District 16, Lancaster and York counties. Columbia address, home address. You can send a message by say, send message. Right? And then your web browser, like mine for instance, I can put my information in here. I just click on it and it just auto-fills it. Gives them my address, gives them my phone number, my email address. You go down here, you put HB3594, it's auto-populating because I've actually done it. And then you go down here and you paste this message that I told you about earlier. Here. Please vote for constitutional carry. Let's see. I'm just going to cut and paste this. Go back here. Paste the message. I'm not going to send again because I've already sent it. You just have to go down here and you prove that you're not a computer by typing in the word kitty. And then you click. Once you do that, then you can go up here and the send will highlight. Click send and off it goes. Do that for all the senators. I've done it. I'm going to call and leave a voicemail here shortly. And I would encourage all of you legal gun owners to call each one of those senators and implore them to pass the bill with no amendments. Because all amendments are going to do is stall the bill and cause the Senate Judiciary Committee and the House to play ping pong with that bill. And then we're going to run out of time, and all of a sudden it'll have to wait till next year. And then it'll have to wait till next year again. We've got to put pressure on these senators to support and represent the people. Legal gun owners, law-abiding citizens, right? That's what we're after. So, having said all that, I don't want to beat a dead horse. So I'm going to say, I encourage you to do this. We need your help. Every single legal gun owner in South Carolina that's listening to this podcast episode, I and we need your help. We need for you to take action. And so I'm going to hope and pray that you take action and you do these things. So thank you for the privilege of your time. Our podcast is hosted on Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Be sure to share our podcast with your Second Amendment friends, family, and coworkers. You can contact us at Liberty Gun Rights Podcast at proton.me. That's Liberty Gun Rights Podcast at proton.me. Thank you for listening to today's episode, and goodbye for now.